Our next guest is the new women's basketball coach at Towson University. After a great job she did turning around the program at Coppin State, she's also one of the great players in Maryland basketball history. Laura Harper is back with us now here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn and Paul. It's good to chat with you. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Of course. It's great to be chatted with. I'm so excited for this new opportunity, and thank you for having me.
Coach, give me the thought process, right? Like, you've done this great job at Coppin. This opportunity pops up. Were you at all nervous about it? Were you at all? Did you have to think twice at all about making this jump between Coppin and Towson?
This was a no-brainer for me. I didn't think for 2 seconds about how the transition would be for me. I think being the second largest school in the state of Maryland and the success, the championship culture, I thought that it would be an amazing opportunity.
What has it meant to you to be back in the community in these last few years? And is that part of what makes this so enticing, is that, like, a lot of times you take a job somewhere, you got to uproot your life, and you don't have to do that as you make this jump from Coppin to Towson.
Of course, it's such a blessing because I can stay in my home. I could literally be there the next day when they needed me, and I'm comfortable here. I'm relevant here. I can recruit here.
It helps. You know that you know all the coaches. You got all the connections already. Those things are beneficial, of course.
Of course. And my mentors here. You know, Brenda has just been so inspirational and influential in this transition. And, you know, first day on the job, I had, as I call it, a little mini meltdown.
Okay.
I called her immediately.
Okay.
And, you know, it's like a 30-second fix. So that was just full transparency there. I need that support here, and I'm just so grateful to have her and just all of my people, you know, in my corner wanting me to succeed.
Can you, where did, you know, obviously when someone is your coach, there's this thought that someone's a coach for life, but as you got into coaching yourself, how important was that relationship? What, did it stay the same way for you as you were in your playing career, or did you almost have to rekindle like a new type of relationship with Brenda as you became a coach?
You know, I think relationships are ever evolving.
Yeah.
You know, and Brenda has been doing this for a long time. And I think initially when I started coaching, I think she really wanted to see how serious I was and where my commitment lied. And, you know, I think it's definitely evolved to different levels, specifically since I have become a head coach and I've been back local. And she's done nothing but just be involved and like rooting for me and cheering for me to be successful.
Is there anything in particular that you do as a coach and you're like, oh God, that's Brenda? Like, I know that's the reason I run a practice a certain way, or I say there's a phrase I use. Is there anything that you do specifically where you know that's directly her influence?
You know, I think the biggest, I wouldn't say anything directly from like I've mirrored it, but my whole philosophy as far as being a player's coach and really being player-driven comes from her. She's such a visionary, and I tell everyone that. That is how she recruits. That's how she lives her life, and I try to be the same way with my players.
She is Laura Harper, the new women's basketball coach at Towson. She's with us here on Glenn Clark Radio. Coach, you know, the job is a little bit different than what you walked into at Coppin, right? Like, there is an established track record of success in recent years at Towson. Does it make the job easier because of that, or does it make it more difficult because you know what it is that the expectation level is for this program?
You know, I think it's one of those perspective type of things. You know, is it the glass half full or is the glass half empty? And I think, obviously, when you come into a program that breeds success and has been, you know, so phenomenal in the recent years, there's an expectation. And, you know, there's definitely some pressure there to succeed, but it also helps recruit and it helps, you know, people know that it's possible. So when you're trying to plant the vision, they've already done it. So it's not a new vision. It's something that they've seen. It's something that they've tasted, and credit Coach Rich and her staff for everything that they were able to do to instill that.
Does it go without saying that there is a championship expectation for you at Towson?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, Steve, our new AD, and the entire athletics department at Towson, they're expectant of championships across the board in athletics. And, they have invested so tremendously in each and every single sport to allow that to become possible.
Laura, how were you able to do what it is that you did? I mean, like going from a 2-win season to being right there in the thick of things this year, and I know that you probably didn't love how things finished for your team this year, but how were you able to do that so quickly to make such a jump and get so competitive in such a short amount of time at Coppin?
I think it's a combination of things. Obviously, when you think about staff and players, you need to continue to recruit and you need to continue to have great people around you. But one thing I know for myself is I had an extreme vision, an extreme belief in myself and the players. So in everything that we did, I continued to remind them of our vision and our mission and what we were truly capable of. So I think in really outlining that and making sure that they were able to believe that, I think it just made it a lot easier as we made that change. With the, obviously we recruited new players too.
Yeah, certainly you want to get your own players into the mix, and that helps a lot. And knowing that you have the right fit for going into a season. Coach, your own playing career, your own success, being a national champion and reaching the WNBA, does that still resonate with players that you're recruiting? Like I don't like saying this because I got to think about how old I am, but we're talking about this was more than a decade ago. The title was more than a decade and a half ago at this point, right?
Of course.
Does that when you recruit, do you still feel that like players are aware of your own success? Does that still have a benefit? Like if you put the ring on when you go to show up and recruit somebody?
It's funny that you say that. I think I know it does, and I know that specifically recruiting. In the DMV area, there's there's relevance there, and a lot of the girls they were able to watch the game, and they know Brenda Frese, and they know when they go into that arena, that I was a part of that history.
Yep.
And I think that they're very much appreciative, and it just gives me a little bit of credibility before I open my mouth. And I think that truly helps me as well.
I think there's no doubt about that. Yeah, you walk into that building, you look up in the rafters, and you're like, hey, who's the Harper? I think I've heard of that name before. I think that means something. And then, Lark, before I let you go, just stylistically, what should Towson fans be expecting from Laura Harper teams in the coming years?
We're going to be tough. We're going to be super gritty. We're going to rebound. We're going to run. We're going to apply pressure and be passionate and have fun while we're doing it. I think that's the most important thing, that our players remember that this is a game that hopefully they love. And we're going to give them 40 minutes of havoc every single time that we step foot on the floor.
At Coach L. Harper on Twitter is how you give him a follow, or give her a follow. Sorry, I have a lot of male guests on the show, Laura. I apologize. It's how you give
No worries.
It's how you give her a follow on Twitter. And of course, she takes over this season, coming up her first season as coach at Towson. Coach, congratulations on the new gig. Can't wait to get over and see you at CQ Arena this season. Appreciate you taking a couple of minutes for us this morning. All right.
Thank you so much.
Coach Laura Harper, new women's basketball coach at Towson University.